The good girl needs to be the bitch sometimes too. Good girl, well done. Ooh, yes, that phrase was like a hit of opium straight from the long wooden pipe of olden days. Now, this good girl is in straight pill form, and like taking that pill, being overly good can lead you into a dark, dingy corner, begging for that next drop of validation from the wrong kind of people. The kind of people that you don't want to face in a dark, dingy corner. Good sick. And there's nothing like that smooth joy of validation until that smooth joy of validation starts to crave you. Being taught to be polite, be respectful, be nice, be good all the time as a child becomes bad. When you're in that dark corner with your arms out begging for your next hit, bad news as an adult. Some people will feed on that sweet, sweet nectar of goodness, drink it all in, and leave you a bitter piece of dung for reimbursement. There are times to be good, and there are times you need to be a bitch. For those of us who grew up with being the good girl, it comes with a price for the good woman. We're taught to be polite, regardless of the situation. And sometimes that gets us murdered. Or it comes with a slow murdering of ourselves. We're taught not to rock the boat, not to cause conflict, not to be loud, not to be rude, not to be disrespectful. That there are certain people, especially in positions of authority, who automatically deserve our respect. Really? Politeness and niceness can, and a lot of times leads to exploitation. That good girl has become prey to the big bad boy. Politeness and niceness can be dangerous. Straight up here, women, politeness can get you killed. Playing down our rudeness gets us in trouble. I've witnessed it time and time again. We're afraid to look like the rude one, the direct one, the bitch. And the fear of not hearing that good girl, well done motivation gets us into some serious hot water. Usually it's the frog in the pot kind of hot water that gradually warms up until you realize you're boiling to death. When we're taught to kowtow without question, to give respect, to give our niceties as individuals, as children, despite who these people may actually be, we grow into adults that have that same notion. We do things without question, and it leaves us with no answers for ourselves. We get harassed at work and keep our heads down. It's easier. We get harassed when we're out for just being women. We get harassed by unhealthy spouses who have no idea how upset we really are. Because we're the good girl who pleases. And we'd never want to see someone unpleased, even if it means we are boiling up inside, even if it means we're unpleasant to ourselves. But do you want to be a polite doormat or a good to yourself to goddess? Sometimes the good girl needs to be the not so good bitch. Sometimes she needs to tell off the inconsiderate that have taken advantage of her goodness. Because sometimes the good girl needs to be a little less good so she can realize that that goodness also needs to be given to herself. To be respectful of ourselves first, of our perceived flaws, of our part of being human, mistakes, of our not having to be good all the time. This is what growing up the good one really missed with us. Us being polite to ourselves in our minds, being nice and kind to our wounds. But being good didn't mean being good to ourselves. It meant being good to others at any cost. being a good girl comes at the cost of our health, at the cost of our speaking, our truths, our mental wellness, and for some of us, at the cost of losing our lives. You can be kind without being nice. You can be blunt without being cruel. And as far as politeness goes, if someone has screwed you, they no longer deserve the niceties that come with humanity. Just walk away. If someone is being downright disrespectful of yourself, you are doing a disservice to yourself if you keep giving them respect. That's disrespectful to yourself. Walk away. Walking away is not disrespectful. It's a foundation of respect for yourself. I'm not saying walk around and be a raging, yelling, unkind, temper tantrum throwing bitch all the time. Get that shit together. All I'm saying is that being a good girl all the time is just as damaging as being that raging bitch. Two sides of the same destruction coin. Standing up for yourself, that's being good. Throw away the idea that just because you're nice to someone doesn't mean you'll get it in return. That's being good. Speak your mind so people know where you're at. That's being good. Being blunt or direct is not disrespectful. You can be forward with tact and grace. Saves us all some time. That's being good. Think before you speak is the key to that one. Tossing around that good girl persona doesn't mean you've become a flat out bad girl, unless you want to try that out. Not necessarily suggesting that route, but you do you. It means that you know you'll be good to people, wise in speech, wise in action, wise in understanding and acceptance, but you won't be taking any shit from someone in order to keep your good girl card. That you won't do things just out of obligation, just because you're the good girl, because damn, you deserve that goodness too. So sometimes it's necessary to be a little less good so you can be a little more good to yourself. So you can pour into you that sweet, sweet nectar. You're so good at giving freely. So you aren't in that dark corner begging some douchebag to see your goodness when he has none. So when you go on that date and try being polite with that guy who doesn't take no for an answer, you don't get raped. So when you go into work and they are sucking your soul, you realize that the only way you can be the good girl and save your soul is for you to be a little less good. You can still be good. Just don't ever be so good it's at the sake of your own goodness. Okay?